There's something nobody is saying about JJK Season 2. Season 1 was a smash hit. Everyone who watched it liked it. Maybe they didn't love the characters, but everyone still enjoyed it. And this was the season where MAPPA made their mark. The season they became that studio. The studio who delivers composition, animation, music, and openings that rival that of Ufotable. Ufotable, of course, being the studio behind Demon Slayer, the series that has dominated the anime scene for a while now, both with its popular anime and its record-breaking movies. But with JJK Season 2, we have the perfect storm. We have the proven talent of MAPPA, and the source material for what are arguably the two best arcs of one of the most currently popular series. It is this combination that makes me certain that Season 2 of JJK will define the new standard of anime. This season will be the standard that future anime will be compared to for the foreseeable future, just like everything was compared to Demon Slayer when it broke the internet and set all kinds of records with its first movie. Now, I will say this, while you cannot ignore the impact of the Mugen Train movie, I think it is a bit unfair to compare that movie to the actual seasons of JJK. However, even though Mugen Train sold way more worldwide, JJK Zero was pretty close in sales in the domestic box office. So while Mugen Train was clearly more popular worldwide, JJK was really just as popular in Japan. Point being, we're not going to nitpick the movies. That is because when you look at where the Demon Slayer anime is at right now, and what will be adapted in JJK Season 2, it is very clear that JJK is going to come out on top and have a major impact on how people compare anime. It's for that exact same reason that JJK will also come to define a new generation of anime fans, just like Demon Slayer did, but we'll get to that later in the video. For now, you're probably wondering why Season 2 deserves this much hype. We already know what MAPPA is capable of. We've seen JJK, we've seen AOT, and we've seen Chainsaw Man. So there's really no questioning the overall quality of the episodes. But what makes Season 2 any different from Season 1? Well, like I said, Season 2 will adapt arguably the two best arcs of JJK. And what's great about this season is that each arc has something unique to offer. The first arc to be adapted is the Gojo's Past arc. As you can imagine, this arc takes us back in time to when Gojo was still a student. When we meet the younger Gojo, we see him when he is with his own team before he's really mastered his powers. This means that he's still one of the most powerful characters in the JJK universe, but he's not as untouchable as when we see him in the current story. The premise of this arc is pretty straightforward. Gojo and Geto are given a mission to protect and escort a young girl. I won't explain why she's important for spoiler reasons, but just know that she is important. Of course, because she's so important, someone wants her taken out, and that someone hires Toji Fushiguro. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Toji is the father of Megumi. Now Toji, like Maki, is a member of the Zenin clan, and like Maki, Toji is unable to exercise cursed spirits without cursed tools. But as a Zenin, Toji is extremely powerful. So powerful that he doesn't just give Gojo a run for his money, but he puts Gojo in near-death scenarios on multiple occasions. So in this season, you have one of the most powerful and popular characters in the series versus a vulnerable Gojo. This vulnerability pushes Gojo to his limit, leading to what is still one of the most iconic panels in the entire manga. Now, add to that all of the talent of MAPPA, and what you have is an adaptation that will undoubtedly rock the anime scene. You'll have what is already amazing source material, backstories on characters we already love, as well as the addition of a new legend, additional world building in a series that admittedly has next to none, and a final fight that is still one of the series' best. Add all of that together, and it becomes clear that this arc will be massively influential. JJK fans will go wild, and new fans will start the series so they can watch the two legends that are Gojo and Toji. On its own, Gojo's Past would be an amazing season. But of course, there's still one more arc. Now, before I get into that, make sure to like the video if you're enjoying it so far. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it helps spread the video to other viewers like you. So if Gojo's Past is defined by the characterization of a series favorite and his legendary rivalry, the next arc is defined by what happens when you take that away. This arc, of course, being the infamous Shibuya incident. Now, why is this arc so popular? Well, the premise of Shibuya is also pretty straightforward. Geto is planning some kind of massive attacks on the civilians in the Shibuya district of Tokyo. To stop him, the whole of Jujutsu society has to battle it out against Geto and his allies. Already you can see where this arc differs from Gojo's past. Whereas Gojo's past starts out with slice of life vibes, Shibuya is pretty tense right from the get-go. Plus, Gojo's past built up to one major fight between Gojo and Toji. On the other hand, Shibuya is a classic shonen battle royale, and there are a number of important fights and clashes that stand out. I won't say too many of them only because just mentioning them would be spoilers, but there are a ton of great fights. You have Yuji versus Choso, you have Megumi, Maki, Nanami, and Naobito, the leader of the Zenin clan, working together to fight Dagon, one of the special grade curses. Jogo even goes up against Sukuna in one of the most surprising yet amazing fights in this arc. And you have Gojo versus the special grade curses and Geto. And here is where you have another difference between Gojo's past and Shibuya. Gojo's past is ultimately a coming-of-age story. We get to see Gojo turn into the unequivocal god that he is. Shibuya, on the other hand, presents Gojo after the fact, and what one could argue is his downfall. Again, avoiding spoilers here, but for now I'll say that Gojo is outsmarted and effectively taken out of the story. Obviously, this is one of the most intense moments in JJK, because up until this point, Gojo was a rock. He was the character that gave you a sense of security whenever he was around. Plus, people love Gojo, so to see him taken out of the story marks a major shift in the story. And you can see this in how the story takes a much darker turn in the events following his defeat. This is why Shibuya will be even more insane than Gojo's past. You have the initial shift from Gojo's past, which starts out lighthearted but ends on a pretty heavy note. You have this build up for a major battle royale between all the big players of JJK. You have another shift created by the defeat of Gojo. And you have the tying up of several different plot lines, including but not limited to the mystery behind Geto and his plans, the bitter grudge between Yuji and Mahito, and the evolution of Yuji's character where he experiences the loss of several important characters and then reaches one of the biggest defining moments in his character arc. You have all of this stuff that's been built up to, all of the stuff that manga readers have been dying to see animated, all the basic elements of any great story. Add that up and anyone can see that Shibuya will be an iconic arc. An arc that will be trending every week, that everyone will be talking about, and that will have a huge impact on the anime and manga community. Which brings me to what I've been saying all along. Season 2 of JJK will be the new standard of anime. Every possible indicator is out there. The manga is one of the most talked about manga in Jump next to Chainsaw Man. The arcs that are going to be adapted are two of the most hyped up arcs in the story. The fights are some of the best in a series notorious for its great fights. Say what you will about Demon Slayer, but its fame is built on its great fights. Episode 19, that's a fight that people went crazy for over the animation. Entertainment District also went crazy because of a number of fights with insane animation. Of course, I keep saying animation, but you know what I mean, they look really good. Now, you take that and apply it to JJK. As good as the fights are in Demon Slayer, they don't come close to JJK. Especially when we're talking about Gojo versus Toji and the fights in Shibuya. Take all that and combine it with the proven talent of MAPPA, and it's obvious that JJK is going to become the new standard. And it's for that same reason that JJK will come to define a new generation of anime fans. I'm not saying a new generation of anime, that's a different conversation entirely. What I am saying is that JJK is going to do for a new generation of kids getting into anime what Demon Slayer did when it became famous. I know they're not that far apart, but think about it. That first season of Demon Slayer came out like 3 or 4 years ago. That's a decent chunk of time between now and then, especially for young kids who are just getting into anime, which is why I think JJK is going to become the anime that a lot of people get into as their first anime. They're going to see that everyone around them is going crazy, that this show is dominating everything anime this summer, and they're going to have this massively influential anime be their first anime. That is what I mean when I say it's going to define a new generation of fans. Just like you might have had Yu Yu Hakusho or Naruto as your first anime, a whole bunch of kids are going to see JJK this season, and from that point on, that will be the anime they compare everything else to. That is why Season 2 of JJK is going to define a new generation of anime fans. Not only is it going to dominate the summer season, but because of the amazing source material and massive potential it has, it will inevitably lead to a defining moment in the anime community. Or maybe not. What do you think? Do you think these arcs are overrated? How do you think Season 2 will influence anime fans? Share your thoughts and see what everyone else has to say down in the comments. I'll pick my favorite and share it as comment of the week on my community tab. And if you'd like another JJK discussion like this one, then check out my recent video on Gojo. Spoiler alert if you're not a manga fan, as that video explores why Gojo may have actually ruined JJK. You can find that video in the playlist linked right here. Until then, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.